Welcome back everyone, I'm Scott. Here are the bricks. Now let's go on with the review. Today we are looking at two variations of the T-65 X-Wing fighter from Star Wars. First we have 6212 X-Wing, which is the pinnacle of classic Star Wars LEGO design, and 9493 X-Wing, the first age of LEGO modern design, both of which being wonderful sets within the LEGO Star Wars lineup. I chose to spotlight these two sets because they highlight an interesting time in LEGO Star Wars, as this was the transition from classic to modernization for the X-Wing lineup. Jumping right into the sets, first off we have 6212, released in 2006 for a 5-year runtime that ended in 2011. It is one of the longest running Star Wars sets, and I can see why. It comes with 437 pieces, 6 minifigures, 2 which are unique to the set, and retail for about $50. You can buy it new for about $120 and used for about $40 to $50, which sounds about right since it has a runtime of that production long for so long. I bought it for about $35 on eBay with all minifigures. I had a little flubs there with the actual buying because some of the minifigures weren't correct, but I got things sorted out altogether. Overall, it was a pretty decent buy, and I'm kind of excited to have this classic LEGO set in my collection. Now let's get into more details about it. This is the pinnacle of classic Star Wars design. You have the wonderful classic bulky shape, the classic canopy piece that almost all X-Wings at the time had the piece for, dark bluish gray bars for the wonderful weapons on the side of the wings, which is just, nostalgic at best. And of course you have those classic white studded cylinders, which almost every X-Wing has added to them because that's like the staple piece. Now this set does come with some customization, which is really cool. You can go between Luke's Red 5 and Wedge Antilles, I believe Wedge 6. And you do that by changing some simple pieces on the wings here, which I have both of them on because it's just a hassle to kind of store them. You have the markings right here and here with the tile pieces. You get a printed piece right there, and then you have this nice 1x1 tiles on that side. And you can put those storage-wise on the bottom here, which when open up, I have some spare pieces in there already. Oh, with that. And you can also put Luke's lightsaber in there as well, which is cool because one thing I like about customization is that you have places to store them. We're going to get rid of that piece right there. For playability, you have the normal rubber band and Technic system for the wings to actually fold out, or sorry, the X-foils to actually fold out into attack position. And it holds a pilot and a droid. One pilot though, and one droid. Astromech droid always goes in the back end, which is nice for this little slot, and the canopy opens up here. Lovely. Which we can look into that cockpit for 1 second. And the cockpit is very basic. You have that wonderful printed piece for the trench run, and then you have a little antenna piece for the controller. Awesome. And then you have the astromech slot right there. Nothing much to say about the whole cockpit, pretty basic for the set itself. Overall, it's sturdy, fun, and just a simple classic for LEGO Star Wars. But it does have its cons. It is very bulky. It does lack some detail on the wings, supports as well, and the sloping, which gives it more of an actual starfighter look. Customization is a pain with the amount of flat tiles you have to do to switch them out, and their wings just take forever to fold and lacks detail. And here's 9493. As the end of the life cycle approached for 6212, 9493 pretty much made its way into the fold. Released in 2012 until 2014, this X-Wing came with about 560 pieces, 4 minifigures, and a price of $60. That $10 increase is very justifiable because you are jumping over 100 pieces, in my opinion. You can buy it used for about $40 to $50 and brand new for about $100 to $120. 9493 is a wonderful soft reboot of its predecessor. The wingspan increased with additional slope pieces here, which allows more of a better curved design, also gives it better aerodynamics, and is a closer representation to the actual X-Wing from the movies. The engines are stickered for extra added detail, but still maintain those classic white cylinder pieces. Can't have an X-Wing without the white cylinder pieces. They are amazing. We also get rid of those tan pieces, include the white ones, and have still the light bluish gray little wheel. What are those, real rims? Yes, real rims. And we still have the translucent pieces, just the same as the 6212. Gone are the classic tubes that we all know and love that usually been sitting on the side of the wings for the X-foils. Instead now they have a completely redesigned and functioning blasters on the sides, which I actually really enjoyed them. My only downside is that they can get a little, see how it's a little crooked? They can get a little crooked over time, so you might need to replace those as you collect them. Do know I do have these in storage and not actually on display, so that's probably why they are a little crooked, so I can easily replace them. But this design is actually way closer to the original design from the films, and I actually do like that. It's an improvement on the actual green bars originally. The wing system is faster now. They still use the original rubber band and Technic piece, which is wonderful, and I do enjoy that you can do it in less clicks than the other one does. We also introduced some dark red into the build, which the last one just has red, white, and some tan pieces in it, along with some gray pieces. So I really enjoy that dark red, or Republic red, that I like. It kind of gives it more of a darker accent feel, but pretty much the nose and everything about the whole front end is exactly the same as from 6212. The cockpit also gets a slight variation change as well. Instead of the actual printed plates for detail that the other one has, we have some more gribbling on the side here. It gives it added detail. The astromech droid has a better slot here, just kind of turned opposite way, so it's not as bulky and has more of a straightway design. And the canopy here lovely opens up. And it has an actual green seat this time. No real controls except for a printed panel, which I'm trying to get a shot of that if I can. Right there-ish, you can kind of see it. And it's still another trench run, which is just fine. But it's a targeting computer trench run, and I like that as well. 6493 is a step in the right direction. More detail to the ship, easier wings, same sturdiness, and still includes customization. This time it's easier. You can also switch this out between Jack Porkins and Luke Skywalker's as well with the changing of the plates. In the end, this X-Wing is the moment LEGO tried to make movie-accurate sets out of LEGOs instead of LEGO sets based on movie-accurate designs. Alright, for minifigures. For 6212, you get 6. For 9493, you get 4. I don't have the R2-D2. He's somewhere. I can't find him. I know he's here. He's probably in a Millennium Falcon somewhere in the storage, but I know I have him. He's the same design as that one. He just has a gray head. That's all it is. It's all I'm missing. But for this set, you get quantity over quality. You get 4 figures, which makes sense because you can switch out between Porkins and Luke, and the other end you can switch out between Wedge and Luke. But what the hell am I going to do with the other 3? It only fits 1 astromech droid and 1 pilot, so it doesn't really make sense why they're even here. For 6212, we keep it classic. We have these lovely flesh tone classic minifigures, which include the basic life likeness that we have. We have a basic Luke, a basic Wedge Antilles, who is unique to the set, a basic Leia with the wrong headpiece, that is a Episode 4 headpiece on an Episode 5 body for Hoth. We have a wonderful Episode 5 Han with that lovely, lovely Lego hair. We have our Chewbacca, and we have R2-D2. Not much to talk about with these figures, except they are pretty basic. I do love Wedge's helmet design. I like that these are for Episode 5, so they do keep up with the Hoth appearance. But realistically, the only time they might have run into each other was on the actual base at Hoth. It doesn't really make sense to have this. But that's pretty much it for the minifigures for 6212. Let's go to 9493. We like to point out that the most standout figure is actually the Hoth outfit for Han Solo. I really enjoy his Hoth jacket with the binoculars that he looks for Luke in. I love the little print for his little holster. And that's pretty much it for the whole set. But I actually like this minifigure a lot. He is kind of wonky. It is used and it does have some cracks, which I do not enjoy. But you know what? But we're going to try to conserve him as much as possible. You can probably find these very decently online cheap because this was a very mass-produced set and it ran for so long. But I don't know. I just think he's a standout figure for the set, even though Wedge Antilles is his first appearance and a 1 out of 2, actually. So, you know, Han Solo for the win. All right, let's go to the next one. Unlike the overly complicated and crowded 6212, 9493 has kept it simple and clean. Luke, R2, who's not here, Jack Porkins, which is his first appearance, and an R5 unit. Porkins is probably the best part of this set, hands down. I mean, I love Porkins. He dies immediately in that battle on the Battle of Death Star. His name is Jack Porkins, and look at this minifigure. His face is a little scratched up. That's probably due to bad storaging on my part, but I really enjoy this figure. You can get him kind of cheap, and I think I will buy a replacement one just because I enjoy Porkins so much. Look at those little chubby cheeks they give him. That's really awesome. They have some nicely redesigned jumpsuits for the Rebels pilots. This time they have the actual tanks that go on there way more detailed than the last ones. For reference, let's look at Wedge Antilles here. Oh, look at that. Oh, you gotta love that classic face. Look at that. With the lovely Rebel jumpsuit right there. But you get a redesigned one here, which I really enjoy for 2012. And that's pretty much it. It's all modern design. You don't really have any hair. I do not believe there is back printing on the heads. Oh, there is not. Wonderful. And you have some better detailed helmets, which I enjoy as well. R5 himself is looking pretty dope. I like having R5. I have him actually on display for minifigures because I really enjoy him altogether. R2-D2, like I said, is pretty basic R2-D2 figure. I don't have him. Well, I do. I just don't know where he's at. He's probably in a Millennium Falcon. But that's the story I have, and that's what I'm sticking to. But yeah, that's the minifigures for 9493. Let's wrap this up. Overall, it's just a unique chapter in Star Wars LEGO history. We have a passing of the torch from the classic design of 6212 to 9493. You really couldn't get any better. They do improve on the design later on in 2015, I believe, with 7512. I don't really remember the name of it, where they added a lot more details to the engines and some more playability with the adding of spring-loaded launchers. You don't have any real playabilities in these besides some nice swooshing. They do give you an ample amount of minifigures to play with them, but besides that, you're not really doing any aerial dogfights with these except within your imagination. But that's okay because that's what LEGO is, an imagination. It's just a nice look at classic to modernization and in a line that keeps continuing. That's why I wanted to highlight these two sets, because you have a wonderful classic set, you have a wonderful modern set, and it just keeps getting better from there. Except for the most recent one from last year. I'm not a fan of that. That's why I kind of skipped down on it. But I highly recommend anybody to get 6212. It is pretty much the staple and the longest running production one, so they have plenty of them. If you really enjoy classic Star Wars and that classic LEGO Star Wars, then 6212 is your bet. I really enjoyed the 2011 one. I know the 2015 one is a little bit nicer. I might actually try and get my hands on that one, but I think they did a awesome job on designing this one and getting more accurate with the movie version versus having a LEGO version on this side here. The actual minifigures are a little bit tough to swallow for 6212, but they give you a lot of bang for your buck. It just doesn't make any sense. And the details are kind of all wrong. Plus you get Wedge and you get Porkins, which is just a wonderful addition. So yeah, these X-Wings are two wonderful things, and if you don't have an X-Wing in your collection, I highly recommend you get either one of them. Now, thank you for watching. This has been Scott. Those were the bricks, and that was the review. Thanks.